All right. Welcome to Vikas Web Channel. My name is Vikas, and I'm here back again with another video. And this video is about object and array and how to deal with them. This is a video requested by some of you, and also I have to tell you, these are the things that actually I do almost every day in my development career. I deal with object, I deal with arrays, I try to manipulate them, I try to get different data from there. So it's more about also data structure and how you actually deal with those data. So this is pretty important if you are in the learning journey of JavaScript or full stack development. And just to let you know, although we are talking about JavaScript today, but the same concept, same principle, you can actually use it in any other way. Maybe the syntax are a bit different, maybe the way you loop them are a bit different, but the concept will stand. So if that sounds good and if that's what you are looking for, then definitely give this video a thumbs up. And also if you are new to this channel, subscribe this channel as well as hit the bell icon so that you will be notified whenever I upload new videos. With that, let's start the video. So here I have a few to-do kind of things so that I don't miss, although we might be doing a bit more than what it is here. However, I would like to keep it at least in the flow, but if I'm not, then pardon me. So this is just a simple folder in VS Code. I have app.js, which has basically nothing, all this to do in the comment. And then I have this index HTML. All it does is taking this script, and then I'm embedding this app.js. This is this one. And then in VS Code, I can open this with a live server, which I have, and here we have. So if I go here and console log something, and then if I go here, yes, we can see something. So everything is working. So let's go and let's jump into find index. So let's have, I'll just give example array. The reason is I might have used test array. So anyway, array 1, and then this is fruits, so banana. Let's say we have this array, a very simple array which consists of strings, although we can also have numbers there if you want. Okay, that's okay, but for now let's just have a string here. Everything of these items here, they have an index. So in array, you already know everything starts from 0. So banana is in index 0, apple is in index 1, and mango is in index 2. And this is pretty easy because you can easily see it and tell like which index what item belongs to. However, imagine you have a case where you have a lot of tons of stubs. Okay, in that case, how do you know that which index we are talking about? And that's okay, but also sometimes we need to manipulate something for that item, especially in this kind of cases where let's say I want to change this person's name, or I want to change this person's name from John to something. And then imagine you have a lot of objects inside array and a lot of item, or let's say I want to change this published year of this book, which is inside array. So those kind of things happens, and you deal with those things from index. So that's why we need index. And let's say let's index 1. Okay, and then how do we get index of, let's say, mango? Okay, so for that we will use our array, and there is something called find index. And then when you do this, we will get, you can see we have value, index, everything. So we need a value. So let's just give the value, and we can write it as item. And then what we want is item is whatever we want to have. So mango. So we are getting index of it. So basically it's looping through everything, and then each item, and whenever that item matches, it is giving us the index of that. We can also do it using for loop or so, but for now let's just use this. Okay, now if we go here, you can see index of mango is 2. Similarly, if we want index of banana, which obviously we know is 0, but let's go here and see it, and then we have index of banana is 0. That's good. Okay, so now we have index. Let's try to do something using this index. I want to add something before this index. Let's say I want to add kiwi there. How can I do that? Well, in that case, we want to do something with this, and then there is something called splice, and then here you can see where do you want this to start. Okay, so I want this to start wherever the index 1 is. Okay, and just to make it easy, let's go, and because we want it mango. Okay, well, this is not needed, but Okay, so we have the index of mango and we want that, and you can see here in this place. And do we want something to be deleted? Probably not. And then what we want to eat, we want to add kiwi. Okay, so now let's console log here and let's save it and let's see. Now you can see we have a new array. We have banana, apple, and then the kiwi is added in front of this mango index. So spread to copy. So let's say sometime you want to copy this array and then make a new array. So let's say example array 2, and what we want is we want this array to be the same thing as example array 1. You can do that. Okay, so this way what happens is you are creating a new array. However, you are not doing anything else, or you are not impacting, or your changes to this array will not reflect in this array. So you are creating completely a new array. So this is one way to do it. And then now if we go here and console log new array, and then that will be our example array 2. So if you go here, we have basically the same steps. That's good. Okay. However, let's say we have to also add new things here. So how can we do that? I can add kiwi here, and I can also add orange here. Now if I go here, you can see I am doing. However, if I go here and then I can just do old array, then you see our old array still has those initial items. However, our new array, or array that we created from here, has these items. And now if we have to do something in this array is not tossed. Okay, we can obviously also do something like this. Let's see what happens. Now if you see, when you are doing this kind of array, and then let's go here, and then we have you see, this is the thing. So when we are creating a new array which is same as the old array, and then although we are just pushing this thing in a new array, so that is second, but both the arrays are mutating. So you see in both of these arrays we still see kiwi. However, we wanted that kiwi to only be in our duplicated array. But just like earlier, if we do something like this and use spread, then you see only in our duplicated array we have kiwi. However, our first array is on top. So I think now you know how to copy and how to also add more stuffs in array. Remove item from array with index. Well, we don't need index to remove all the time, but sometime we need it. And you already saw when you use something like this, and then you can also use slice, and then it will also slice. It will give you only the part of things. So from where you want to start and from where you want to end. So let's say we want to start from 0, and then we want to end it. We want to end it to this index. So at the moment we know this 0, 1, 2. So the index is 2. So let's do that. And then let's do console log, and then splitted array or removed array. And then we can have this array here. And well, we have everything there. We have to save this. And then let's get back to our mango array, because when you use slice, it always gives us a new array. So I'm saving the new array also in the same name. So that's why now we are getting that a new, and we removed that. And if you didn't know this, so you can always do the indexing, and in that case what you can do is we can have the same index. So that will be example array dot find index. We have item, and then item is same as mango, and this should give us the same result. This is one way to do and deal with index. However, you can easily see that if we had kiwi here, you will still get banana, apple, although we wanted to only remove mango from here. But in that case, we have to make sure how we want to remove and how long do we want to remove it. So it can be complicated. So for that reason, there is a new way to delete and have a new array. So let's go here. We will have this array, and this array is same as this array, and we use filter just like earlier. We will get item, but where item is not equals to whatever we want to remove. And then now if we will console log here, refine array, and that will be example array 1. And now you can see that we have banana, apple, kiwi. It doesn't matter which index you delete, that will be removed and you will get everything else. For example, if we have also orange here, you will get orange there, however you won't get mango. And similarly, if we remove apple, you will see we have banana, mango, kiwi, everything, but the apple is removed. So that is how you actually remove something. So the next here we have is map array by modifying and returning all. That would be more useful in this case, but also let's do it here. Let's have a new array, or we can also use the same array. Let's just modify the no, let's do new array. Okay, and then here what I want to do is I will map, and I have already made a video about map, filter, everything, so I'm not going to go in detail. I have item, however here I would like to do something, so I would like to do return, and then you know what, this will give me also index, and I would like to return it in such a way that I will have the index and then the name. So let's use template string. Actually, do I need template string? No, all I need is index and then plus, I can have a space, and plus item. So the idea is I would like to have 0 banana, 1 apple, 2 mango, 3 kiwi, and so on. And now I have that, and let's console log new array, and then I have a new array. So let's see what happens, and you see we have 0 banana, 1 apple, 2 mango, 3 kiwi, 4 orange. The idea is that it doesn't have to be index. We can also do so that prefix and then do it, and you can see prefix banana, prefix apple. So basically, if you need to modify your array and return it with a modified value, then you can also do that. I think this is all good for our first part, that is our array. So now let's go to object. Okay, so we are here. Let's say I want to change the name of this person, okay, from object 1. So initially, let's just console log object 1 is object 1, and then object 2 is object 2. So we have 2 objects, that's good. However, now we want to modify. Okay, so let's say I want to change the name of this. So I have one way to change, that is object 1 dot and then name, and then I can then change name. All right, now if I have to print the object 1 again, you will see initially object 1 had Vikas, and then object 1 now has change name. So that's how you change it. That is one way to change. There is also another way to do this thing. Instead of using this name like that, I can also do so that I can have something like this, and then give it a key, and then the key is name. You can see we already got, and this is also pretty much the same. And these are useful sometime when you have to do dynamic value, dynamic content, and you don't know what the key will be. In that case, it's a good thing that we use something like this. So this is kind of a big bracket, and then provide the key there, because let's say sometime we might need to change A's location based on something, and in that case you cannot do something like this and then give the JavaScript. Like you can see that we will start having a complaint. Let's say let key is name. All right, so now I can pass the key there. And then if you see, it says change name. However, let's say if the key is location, and then I can just do here. If I save it, you see the name is not changed. However, this location is changed because we provided dynamic key. So that is what I'm talking about here. Sometimes you need this kind of dynamic key because then you can use the variable here. However, if you just want to use something like what I did earlier, this kind of name, then you need to know exactly what you are doing in that case. And this is not the case when you are dealing with dynamic data, dynamic value changes. Okay, so the next one, which was actually in the first, combining objects. So in that case, we have to do a bit of data modification because we cannot have two objects with the same. So now we have two objects and we want to combine that such a way that all these keys are used or it will be available in the new object. So for that, let's go. Now let's keep these two objects as it is and let's create a new object. Okay, and then we can use the same theory that we used earlier in our array. So you can do this 3 dot, that's spreading, and you can have object 1, and then you have 3 dot, and then you can have object 2, and then let's go here, console log, and then we can have new object, and that will be new object. So now if we go here, we have old object, that is this, and then we have new object, and that has hobbies, that is also there and there and there and there. So that's good. So we combine two objects and we haven't actually mutated the earlier object. However, if you want to have this object same as object 1, then we cannot give it this. In that case, instead of saying new object, let's just do object 1 again, and then that will be. So now if we go here, you see initially object 1 has A's location. However, now object 1 has this. So this is how you mutate it, and then earlier that was without mutating it. So that's the difference. So here what you can do is if you want to add something more, so let's say you want to add I don't know what it can be. We already have hobbies language. We can also say education, and then let's say you have something high score, for example. Now if you go here, you can see education is also available there, and that's an array. So this is how you can combine, you can modify object and so on. So I have this object, this array, it's a test array, and you can see it has elements, and those are object, and then also inside object we have books, and then there is something like that. And again, even here inside we can have something like, for example, authors, and then there can be the name of authors and so on. So this is these are the data that actually in real life, in real development, you will see a lot of different JSON format you will get from API point, and then you have to display different data in your front end, and you might not get the data exactly the way you want, and then you have to manipulate and so on. So that is the last thing that we are doing today. So first thing, object specific object key inside an array. All right, so we have an array, and then we want to okay, we can also give ID here just for the sake of fun here, and then we can also give ID. Okay, that is also typically the case. However, we have John. So let's say someone is asking to change the age of John to from 15 to 25. Okay, so change the array by changing John's age to 20. Let's say that's what we need to do. John is no more 15 years old, so we have to change John's age to 20, or I mean, yeah. So how do we do that in this array? So that's the thing that you will need to understand how to deal with it. So we have array and we have item. So first thing first, we can find index of this object. where John belongs to. Obviously, we know this is 1. However, in case where we have thousands of datas, we cannot count it and then edit it. And if we have to do dynamically, we cannot every time estimate those. So in that case, let's find the index first. So we can use const, or let's say index, and then we can give the test array dot find index, if you remember from earlier, and then we will get item. And in this case, we have item dot age and everything. So basically, item is actually object. So each object inside this array is an item here. So we have to find that where item dot name is, and this is case sensitive, so John. So this way we get the John. And when we have the index, now we can say test.array, and then we can give the index dot, and we can have age, and that age is 20. Now we can console log and then modified age test array index. Okay, that is because, all right, so now let's go and check it. We can see that John has age 20. Instead of John, let's say we want to change 25 to the person whose name is, instead of test, let's write Vikas. All right, so we can go here and we can have Vikas. And now if you go here, Vikas should be 25, and that is the case. All right, so we have a new requirement here, and it says change the publisher of the book with the name John book to 2025. So if we review our array here, in that case, we know that that is somewhere here, okay? And we just have to change this to 2025. Now, when we have only 2 items and we already know the array and everything, it looks pretty simple. We can basically just do test array and then index 0, and then go to dot books, and then there is index 0, and then dot publish, and then do 2025. It's as simple as that, okay? However, that's not the case. That's not how we solve things programmatically. Otherwise, that will be super manual approach. I can actually also change it here. Why not? So how to do this programmatically so that no matter how many items you will have inside, it will still do the thing as supposed. Okay, so in that case, we have to look this at least the easier way. There are other ways that you find index properly and such, but the simple way is we can use the same array, but in this case, let's just create a new array. And here you will see that we need to look through the first part. So this array, so let's do test array and then map, because we want to return everything in this new array. So that's why we have to use map. And then inside map, we get item. So this each item, as you can see, is talking about object. At the moment, we have only 2 items, but later we can even try adding more. Okay, so now usually we would directly return here, but I have to do something. So I'm going to use this curly braces here. And whenever you do curly braces, remember to return, so that otherwise it will not return anything and it is expected. So now we will return item. However, before returning, we'll try to do something. So we'll try to also do something item. And then you can see inside item, we have these things and we have books. Now we are talking about books. And then again, let's do same thing with books. We loop and then we get 1 book. And then I'm also going to do it something like this because we have to do something here. And then again here, let's return because that is expected. When we only use arrow function and we don't have anything in curly bracket, it automatically returns there. However, in this case, we are using this curly bracket, so we have to return. And we need to do something here. So that's where we have to check that if book.name is whatever the name we are checking. In this case, we have John book. It has to match exactly. Otherwise, we have to also do to lowercase and so on if we want to use it dynamically and not make it case sensitive. However, in this case, we have this exact. So if it matches, in that case, only for that book, we want to do book.publish is 2025. Otherwise, we don't do anything. So in this way, now what we are doing, we are first looping through the first item in the first array, and then inside that we are also looping through books, and then inside there only if inside that if the book name matches that argument, then change it to this, otherwise don't do anything. So it doesn't do anything. It will return book anyway. That's the thing we need to return with map. However, it also modifies it if there is something, not only book. If we want to do something else, we can also do something else. And now let's try to, now if we go here and then if we refresh, then if we go inside our 0 here, you see this is 2025. If you want to make this 2030, and you can see this is 2030. Another is we want to delete object inside array and array. So let's say we want to delete the book where the book is this. So how can we delete that? So we can do return, and then everything else is item. However, item dot books should be item dot books dot filter book. Okay, so let's go here and let's see. All right, so you can do something like this. So now what we have is we have array, we are mapping it, and then because we are using curly brackets, so we have written here, and we are writing everything in item as it is. However, for the books properties, books key, we are only returning the books that does not match with this name. So now when you save it, you see here we have only one book here because we don't want the book. And if you want this to be changed, so let's say we want to remove only the book that has this name. Now if you go here, again we have only one book. However, this time we have John book, but we don't have the book that doesn't match. So this way we are looping inside, and then inside this book we are also filtering it. So basically we are removing whatever we don't want. So this is how you modify things, and you go inside array and you do things. So let's say we need to create a new array, and in that new array we will only have this object and this object and this object. However, we'll also like to have the name of the person or email of the person. Okay, so how can we do that? So basically the idea is that we need to have name John book published, and then we need to have, let's say, user, and then the user email, and then we want user email of whatever user we are talking. You see we have 2 users at the moment, but in future we can have multiple users, and we want that. Okay, so how can we get that? Okay, book object attaching user email. Okay, so we don't return anything yet. Let's go item, and then we are inside books, and then we are mapping it. We will get book. Now all we have to do is we have to return the book as it is. However, we have to also attach user email here, and then that user email will come from here. So item dot email. So that is, we are talking about this first case. So we are talking about each user. Actually this can be user. In that case this can also be user. I don't know why I didn't think of that earlier. It really doesn't matter, but just to make it easier. Okay, so we have user and we are attaching. Okay, so now if I go here and then I will try to console log list of books with email, and if I go here and if I do this, let's see what we get. We actually get nothing. We have 2 items, yes, but we didn't get anything. It is because we are not returning anything, and that's what we need to return. So let's go, let's try to return something here, and let's see what we get. Okay, we got 2, but that should not be the case because we want all the books in our top level, and here we are getting inside and then we are attaching, and that's not what we want. my approach here is a bit different. So let's just copy this, and that's okay. However, initially, let's just have it an empty array, and then this is completely a separate thing. So instead of doing this, what we can do is we don't even have to return this. Don't have to return this. However, I can do it is books with and then push, and then here instead of this I can do something like that. Okay, so we have empty array, and then we are looping here, and then we are pushing it. So this way I'm hoping that everything is there, and in that case probably we don't even have to use map. We can use for each, or if we want no duplicate and plat, and there are map, plat, and so on. But this should do the job. Let's go here and let's see, and we got everything. So we have 4 books and we are getting it, and inside each book we are, so this is about test user, this is also about test, this is about John Gmail. And then if we want something else, so let's say we have this user, and I would like to duplicate this user, and I will give it name 3, and then this is David, and then David also has David at Gmail, and this is like, let's say Solana, and this is, let's say, Ripple. Okay, so now if you go here, we have 6 books, and if we go here, this book Ripple is for this user, and this is also for this user, and so on. So this is how you manipulate this array, go deep level, and then create a new array, and then get the data you like. So now if you see all this, and if you combine all this, you should be able to do a lot of things: creating new arrays, dealing with new arrays, deleting things, modifying things from array, adding something there, deleting something there, everything. So I think after this, it's all about, if you want to go one level down, let's say even if this books has, let's say if this books has something here, like I told you earlier, if it has authors, and then there are authors like Ramin and Samin, for example, and if we have something like that, and if we want to go one level down, then instead of this, you could probably also do so that book dot, if there is authors, in case if there is, then again you can do map, and then we have author, and then you can also do the similar thing here, and then returning, and so on. So it's up to you. Obviously, when you are looping things, the more data you have, it has to loop through that many times, and then there are things about performance and complexity, but that's not the part of this video. When you need it, you will do it. That's how I believe. Let's go here, and then this is the last part. So we have to object, map object. So let's say just like array where we were doing array.map, we can also do a similar thing with object. So let's say we have a case and we have object. Okay, so we have this object and we want to loop through, and then we want to print stubs, so that we will have the city name, and then we have population. And if we had front end, although I have languages here, I am not sure if I'm going to use this or not, but in an ideal case, the idea is, let's say if you have a design, so we will have some city name here, and then we will have population, and then we will give the population and then the languages, and so that in front end you might have that. So you have to group by city, and then for each city you have to show the detail of that city. So there can be that kind of cases. So how to do that? So if you see already here, let's try to console log one thing. So we can get array of all the keys inside object with this method. So we have object dot keys, and then we just need to pass what object we are talking about. So if we pass this object, if we see it, you will see we have like Helsinki, Turku, Tampere. So this way we don't get anything inside, however we get the key, and that should be enough for us, because now what I can do is, based on these keys, I can loop, and then I can get everything inside. So let's go here. So let's try to do something. Now I will have the same thing, keys, and then here I have the object that I pass, and with this I get array. As you already saw it before, we had this kind of array, and then there was city name, so that I can actually map, right? Because now we have array, we got array of the keys. So now when I map, Now the question is, what am I mapping? So actually, because this has become Helsinki, Turku and Tampere, that array, because we already saw that. So that array we are trying to map, and then we can get item, it's okay, or we can even get key, it's okay. So now the real interesting part comes here. How do I print it? So let's do console log. If I just say city and then give key, you will see we'll have all the city Helsinki, city Turku, city Tampere. That's good. However, I would also like to know the population. In this case, only key is not enough, so we have to go to our object 1, and then if you remember when I was talking about dynamic key, and then I have to give population. So now if you see here, city Helsinki population is this, Turku this, and this is how, because we have the keys in this array, now you can use that key and then you can get any value from there. Now let's say we want languages. Okay, this is good. And then I want also languages. Here we have to now start looping. Okay, so we have languages, and then how can we print languages here? That's the interesting part. Well, I cannot print languages here, so I have to do either one of two things. So let's just go here, and then here what way I can do is, again I can do the same thing. I have the key, and then after that I have languages, and I have to map it, and then I get language, and then I can console log, and then I can just do the language. Now if I go here, you can see that I have city Helsinki, population is there, and then I have the languages for that. So basically we are dealing it almost like an array. The only difference here is we are getting this key with object.keys, and that changes all these keys into one array. And because we have those keys, now we can use this dynamic object key and then get whatever the value inside there, and then we can go as deep as we want with this same technique. Alright, so that's all for this video. I hope after this video you are pretty clear about how to deal with object arrays, and I will like you to think of cases, go and check some JSON file, try to modify those, try to add something inside object, inside array, and so on. Go as deep level as you want. I hope this video was useful for you, and if you agree, then hit the like button, and if you are new to this channel, subscribe the channel and also hit the bell notification icon. There are a lot of other new videos coming soon. I am working now in the full stack Mon project, so even for that you can subscribe my channel and help me grow, because that's what motivates me to make new videos. Otherwise this is super time consuming and I don't get anything except your support. Thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you in the next. Until then, keep coding. Bye bye.